Of Michael Lee Strategy, Michael Lee, Payne Capital Management President Ryan Payne, and Spotlight Asset Management Chief Investment Officer Shana Sissel. Mike, let me start with you. Big week for retail earnings. Target, Walmart, Home Depot among those set to report this week. What are you expecting? Are you optimistic?
Yeah, Dagan, I think we're going to see absolute blowout numbers from all these companies. We're also going to hear from Lowe's and TJ Maxx. I believe we're going to see some of the better earnings we've ever seen from these companies. What I'd say to look at for investors, though, is a lot of these stocks are knocking on all-time highs, and particularly in the cases of a company like Target, whose stock has dramatically outperformed the S&P 500 over the last year, is that not only when these companies come out, they're going to announce earnings. I believe all these names will beat, on the top line and the bottom line. But what does their guidance look like going forward? Is that as bullish as Wall Street has expected? If not, you can expect to see a lot of these companies sell off, specifically a company like Walmart, if their e-commerce doesn't match up with what the street is looking for, or a Target, considering how high these stocks are. And I'd say if you don't own these stocks and you're looking to own them, what I'd want to do is be a buyer of any of these names on a disappointing trading session after the announcement of earnings. We have an extraordinarily strong consumer. We did get a relatively poor University of Michigan number on Friday, but I don't think that's going to change the fact that the savings rate is super high. Wages are up. We're also going to hear about retail sales this week on the whole month over month. That's expected to be a small decline because Prime Day was moved forward from July to June. So I'd say with all the issues going on in the world, retail earnings is going to be very much a bright spot.
But wages, when adjusted for inflation, have been falling 7 months in a row, Mike. I just want to point that out. Real average hourly earnings have been declining. And so you would expect caution, would you not, with the Delta variant from these major retailers? At least cautious statements.
Maybe we get some cautious statements with this Delta variant coming out. I would be a buyer of any of these names on any weakness. I think, yes, there are some inflationary pressures, but you'll particularly hear from Home Depot and Lowe's how the price of lumber has collapsed. And so if you're really an inflation hawk and watching this closely, I've listened very clearly in those earnings calls to hear what they're saying about that, because this home building trend that we're seeing going on doesn't look like it's going to stop anytime soon. And now that the price of lumber has basically, has gone back, not quite to pre-pandemic levels, but it's really neutralized, what they're saying about that going up forward, and how all these retailers are doing in terms of getting supplies and what the inflation pressures are on their overall businesses.
Pointing to futures this morning, pointing for